it figures as soon as I start recording, the wind picks up. So you'll have to bear with me. Sorry for the wind noise, guys. But you know what? The weather's been beautiful here lately, so I really can't complain. It's already starting to feel like spring. So anyway, I'm coming to you from a brand new GoPro Hero 8 Black, and I figured I was due for an upgrade because honestly, my old GoPro Hero Plus, it's getting to be over 5 years old now, and it's just outdated. I think 5 years is considered a dinosaur in the technological world. So I figured I was due for an upgrade. So I bit the bullet and got one of these new GoPros, and so far it seems to be quite an improvement over the Hero Plus, but we'll see how the video turns out. So let me know what you guys think. This will be the first video that I've shot and narrated entirely with the GoPro, so hopefully this is, you know, significantly better than the old one. But anyway, so I have two GoPros now that I can use for making videos, and I now have two Cub Cadet 782s as well. So as you can see here, I picked up another 782. This is a red one. It's an International Harvester built 782, and judging by the serial number, it was built in June of 1980 at the plant in Louisville, Kentucky, whereas the other Cub Cadet 782 was built in Brownsville, Tennessee. And I've been around plenty of these red 82 series Cub Cadets, but I never actually owned one myself. My friend Cody had a couple different red 82 series tractors when I was living up there for school. He had two red 782s and a red 582. So I'm not new to them by any means, but this is the first one that I've actually owned. Down here in my neck of the woods in New Jersey, I just don't see hardly any of these 82 series. I don't see a lot of the white ones, let alone the red ones. I think I know of maybe one or two down this way that have been turned into pulling tractors. But this one came up for a pretty good deal. A friend of mine was selling it, so I figured, you know what, why not? And it was close by too, so it was hard to refuse. And I figured if anything, it would look good next to the white and yellow 782. Quite frankly, I don't have a use for another 782, especially since this one did not come with any attachments, but I figured it would make for a good YouTube video, and I could, you know, show some of the differences. This one's a nice original survivor. From what I've been told, it mowed a trailer park down in Baltimore, Maryland most of its life, and then my buddy bought it and had it for a couple years. He actually had it in his basement. I guess it was kind of being used as a centerpiece. Then he rolled it out and decided to get rid of it, so I figured why not? It was close by and the price was right. So like I said, it's a 1980 782 built by International Harvester. The red 82 series were the last generation of Cub Cadet tractors that were built by International Harvester before they sold the Cub Cadet line to the conglomerate that basically became CCC, and actually to this day is still considered CCC, or Cub Cadet Corporation. And it was around that time that they started painting them white and yellow. But after they sold the line in April of 1981, production didn't start up again until late 81, early 82 in Brownsville, Tennessee. And at that time, you could order an 82 series tractor in either color. If you ordered from a Cub Cadet lawn and garden dealer, the tractor would be white and yellow, as you can see here. And if you ordered it from an International Harvester dealer, the tractor would be red. But they're the same exact model. There's really no major differences. It's just cool to have an original, or I guess I could say an early and a late iteration of the same tractor. It's kind of cool to see the differences between the two, but I'm mainly going to focus on this one for this video. So originally, you know, being a 1980 model, this would have had the Kohler KT17 Series 1 engine, which would have had a spec number below 24300. As many people know at this point, the main issue with the Series 1 KT17 engines was that the crankshafts were not cross-drilled. They didn't have enough oiling ports, so the connecting rod on one side would often lack lubrication, especially on hillsides, and it would cause the engine to throw rods, especially when the owners would not take the time to take the cooling shrouds off and clean all the debris out, because these engines do suck up a lot of debris since they pull their air from the center of the tractor instead of the front or the top. So you take, you know, years and years of dirt and debris accumulation in the cooling fins, combined with improper lubrication of the crankshaft, and you're just bound to, you know, have a broken rod. And unfortunately, that's the fate that a lot of the KT-17 engines suffered. This being a 1980 model, had a Series 1 engine in it, and at some point in its life, the Series 1 gave up the ghost, and it had a Kohler Magnum 18 swapped into it. And the Magnum 18 is pretty much the exact same engine, with the exception of a few improvements, such as the cross-drilled crankshaft, a different carburetor. Most of them had a fixed jet carburetor, but this one actually does not. This has the correct, well, not the correct, but the better Carter adjustable jet carburetor. And it also has magneto ignition. It has 2 pickups on the flywheel, so there's no coil, there's no breaker points or anything like that. And judging by the spec number on the tag, it came out of a 1993 Snapper lawn tractor or garden tractor. You don't see a whole lot of them anyway, so I thought that was kind of interesting. And being, you know, spec'd for a Snapper tractor, it does have a couple differences, mainly the crankshaft. You can see it's got some oddball PTO clutch installed, which is actually the only issue that I'm really having with this tractor, and it was advertised as having PTO clutch issues. The clutch doesn't like to engage sometimes, and I've looked at it and I don't see any adjustment nuts or anything like that, so I don't think there's a way to set the air gap. So I bought another used PTO clutch. I'm waiting for that to get here, and then I'll swap it over and see if it works. Another interesting thing about this Snapper spec engine is that it has the oil filter on the block. As you can see there, the oil filter port is actually on the block instead of using remote lines and everything. The later Cub Cadets, like the 18 series that used these Magnum engines, had remote oil lines coming up basically to the firewall, and then the oil filter mounted to the firewall, which makes for, you know, easy oil changes. But this, being out of a different machine, has the oil filter threaded directly onto the block, which is kind of neat. I never actually saw a Magnum engine that had that style of oil filter mount. Aside from the different oil filter mount and the different PTO clutch, the engine's pretty much exactly the same as what would come in like an 18 series Cub Cadet. And, you know, dimensionally, they're the exact same engine as a KT-17, so all the shrouds and all the individual pieces pretty much swap over. But yeah, the engine overall runs pretty good. I haven't had to do much to it. I did change the oil and oil filter, and I just changed the air filter as well. It's been pretty well maintained. I'm not sure how many hours are on it. Of course, the hours will be different than the overall hours on the tractor. This has one of the old style Borg hour meters, which are actually designed to be resettable. These are really like a service hour meter that dealers were supposed to reset after every service. And if I'm reading it right, it's got about 520 hours on it. But obviously that style of hour meter was not very popular, so the later CCC models went to a more traditional analog style, as you can see. But like I said, I'm not sure how many hours are on the engine or the tractor, but if I had to guess, the engine doesn't have too many hours on it because it really runs nice. I had to adjust the low idle jet on the carburetor because sometimes it wouldn't like to idle. I also cranked up the idle speed just a little bit because sometimes these engines like to idle down really low, and I worry that they don't get enough lubrication at that low speed. So I turned the idle up a little bit, I adjusted the low idle and got it running real smooth, and it doesn't have hardly any blow-by. It really doesn't blow any smoke. It doesn't knock. It doesn't leak. The whole tractor overall is very clean. I thoroughly inspected it, and sometimes they leak oil out of the hydraulic spool valve there. That's all clean. The frame rails are all clean. The transaxle's all clean. So if somebody took care of this, I mean, it's got its usual dings and scratches. You know, it is a 40-year-old machine, but it's really, really in nice shape. I can't complain. Of course, being an IH built tractor, this does have the heavier duty cast iron rear, which is based off of the original Farmall Cub design. These are very, you know, probably the most coveted transaxle design, I should say, anyway. This has the internal wet brakes, and somebody added this really heavy duty hitch plate, as you can see here. Looks to be like 1/2 inch, maybe 9/16 inch steel, so it's, you know, super heavy duty. You're not going to break that. Another little thing you may notice is that the IH decal is actually slightly off center, and I do believe that is the original decal. I've heard of quite a few instances where the guys at Cub Cadet kind of screwed up on decals. I don't know if this thing was put together on a Monday or what, but it's not the first time I've seen one of these decals off center. Just something I thought was interesting. Tractor's got a newer battery and newer battery cables in it as well. Nothing really special there. And like I said, overall it's very, very clean. Everything's in good shape on this tractor, and it's ready to be put to work. I was thinking about maybe hooking up the 46 GT deck to this tractor to try mowing with it, you know, once I get the PTO clutch issue figured out. But honestly, this thing is so clean, I don't even know if I really want to get it dirty. I may also, I may actually be working out a trade deal with somebody to trade this for a different make of tractor. So, I don't know, we'll see. I haven't decided yet. But I really haven't done much to it, honestly. How you see it is pretty much how I got it. Like I said, I did change the engine oil and filter, change the air filter. I just kind of went over everything, made sure everything was tight and adjusted properly, and I also added a new spring to hold the side panels together. It's just a screen door spring. You can get them from Tractor Supply, since the spring was missing. And I actually got one for the other 782 as well, because I was just using 2 smaller springs to hold the side panels on. But to be correct, you'd have to have one of these long springs, so I like trying to be as close to original as possible. The tractor also has newer Titan multi-track CS tires on the front. These are, in my opinion, the best turf tire you can get, and I don't believe they make them anymore, which kind of sucks. They're a 4-ply, so they're pretty durable, and I've had them on a few previous sets of tractors. Titan is the parent company of Carlisle, so they're pretty much the same thing. So it had newer front tires put on it as well. And yeah, like I said, I haven't really done much to it, just kind of gone over it and, you know, looked it over, see if it really needs anything. If anything, I really just kind of wanted this tractor to have alongside the other 782, the custom build here, so you could see, you know, a fairly original one and then a modified one. And these tractors are both still in their original paint, which is pretty nice. I mean, they're survivors, that's for sure. Just imagine the stories they could tell. I know a lot of guys prefer to have a repainted, restored tractor, but you know, every one of these little scratches and things has a little story behind it. So I feel like the tractor loses a lot of its character if you try and paint over that. So I try and keep them original, or as original as possible. You'll notice in there's a little bit of a disarray of wires. When this tractor was upgraded from the KT17 to the Magnum 18 engine, going from the old style to the new style, you're going from battery to magneto ignition. And to shut off a magneto ignition engine, you have to ground the magneto. And with these, how that's done is by adding a kill wire. So you have to have a 6-prong key switch, and obviously that's how this one's wired up here. 6-prong key switch with an extra kill wire. So that's why you see the extra wire spliced in there. Otherwise, there'd be no way to shut the engine off. And I'll start her up so you guys can hear. Fires right up. This thing runs really good. Nice and quiet, runs pretty smooth. I had it running a few minutes ago, so greased the steering and it really made it smooth. The steering was a little tight at first. I know these Cub Cadets aren't known for having good steering. Runs great, it really does. brush cleared out of the hedgerow here, so makes for a nice little background. First time I've actually had a Kohler twin cylinder, opposed twin cylinder that actually runs good. A lot of the other ones I've had in the past have been nothing but trouble, but this one must not have many hours on. It's been very well taken care of, and it seems to run great. And having switching out the non-adjustable Walbro carburetor for a Carter type with the adjustable jets certainly helps. Be careful closing the hood. These earlier 82 series had this little latch here. Eventually they did away with this because the other 782 does not have this, but you have to be careful the hinge does not catch on this when you go to shut the hood. It actually takes two hands. But yeah, she's a good runner. Somebody really did take good care of this thing. It's a survivor, of course. So like I said, I really didn't have any reason to buy it, but it was nearby, it was priced right, and I figured it would look good next to the other 782. Like I said, I may be in the works, I may have another trade deal in the works, trading this for a different tractor of a different color that I've never owned before, so we'll see. Not 100% sure yet, but you guys will be seeing videos on that soon. Just for the heck of it, why don't we start up the custom 782. The owner runs good. This will be my plow day tractor for a while now. I do have a 3-point hitch on the 318, but I currently have it set up for plowing snow because, you know, according to Murphy's Law, as soon as you take the snow plow off, you get another snowstorm. So I'm leaving it in its snow gear until April. So this will be the plow day tractor. I'm still dealing with some surging. I know it's typical for the Onins to do this, but this thing has a mind of its own, and I can't figure it out. It'll run perfectly, then it'll start surging randomly, then it'll run perfectly again, so I really don't know what the deal is. Honestly, I'm just not letting it get to me at this point. I've done so much work to this tractor, the last thing I want to do is tear the carburetor off of it again. Carbon intake manifold. I've already split and resealed the intake manifold, and the carburetor is brand new. So I may have to try running a different grade of fuel in it. I wonder if that'll make a difference. Unfortunately, none of the gas stations around here sell non-ethanol fuel, which kind of sucks, but I don't run cheap fuel. I try and run the good stuff if I can. I forgot to mention it, but you'll notice the tractor is now sporting the correctly colored wheel weights. I have a set of 50-pound John Deere wheel weights on the inside and a set of 25-pound International wheel weights on the outside. I actually had them powder coated because powder coat, if done properly, lasts a lot longer than paint, and I've spray painted so many sets of wheel weights before and the paint just chips right off. So we'll see how this powder coat holds up. The powder coat shop charged $100 to do 4 wheel weights, so I figured, you know what, why not? And I was trying to come up with a color scheme. I thought the white and yellow would look good together instead of just doing all white, so I did the inner weights white and the outer weights yellow. They're actually Orient beige and honey yellow. Those are the official powder coat colors for them. That was the closest or most comparable color choice to the original Cub Cadet colors. So I think they turned out great though, and they really complement the look of the Super Lug tires. So we'll see how long powder coat lasts before it gets all worn off. See how bad the plowing messes them up, but I think they look great. And like I said, this will be the plow day tractor for right now. The 318 is still set up for plowing snow, and I have to pull the engine out and really do some work to it because it's got a lot of leaks. I think putting 20 hours on it plowing snow this past winter really took a toll on the old seals. When a tractor sits for a long period of time like that one, it causes the seals and gaskets to dry rot. So I'm sure the engine needs all new seals. The front hydro couplers need to be replaced, and just needs to be gone over. I was going to do it this winter, but I didn't have a chance to because our garage is just packed full of junk right now. So we'll get the chance to put this one to work as the plow tractor. I plowed with it at Levi's back in December, but we have another local plow day coming up here pretty soon, so I'll see how it performs. But this one's been, aside from the occasional surge, this one's been running pretty good. The engine does have a little bit of blow-by though, which I'm not happy about, but it runs good otherwise. And it's really interesting to drive this one compared to the original, just to see how different they handle. The power steering really does make a difference on this one. This one does not have the IH logo on the steering wheel, and it does not say International on the dash either. Just as good of a tractor though, that's for sure. With this one because this one is actually significantly faster than the red one. It's actually kind of dangerous how fast this one is. There it is, the Own It Surge. Like I said, this thing's got a mind of its own. And honestly, it didn't start doing this until the cold weather came out. So, let's see how it runs in the summer, see if it makes a difference. So anyway, I just figured I'd do a video on both of the 782s side by side here. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to be keeping the red 782 or not, but it was nice to just get my hands on one for once. So I'm not sure if I'm going to trade it off or hang on to it or what, but I figured if anything, I'll make a video just in case. So, spring is on the way, so we'll be out plowing pretty soon. So stay tuned for the plow day videos coming up, guys, and let me know what you think about the new GoPro. We'll see if I'll have to switch back to my phone or if I can just keep using this to make videos. Hopefully this is significantly better than my old GoPro, so let me know what you guys think. If you liked the video, feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.